is going on, everybody? This is Trudger MC, and yes, today we are looking at the Saw franchise. So, if y'all didn't see my video, my short video that I posted a while back, you will know that I had not seen any of the Saw movies until very recently. I'm not sure why, but I don't know. I guess I just never saw them. I don't know what it was, but I recently fixed that. I saw all of the Saw movies, and it turns out that I like all of them. So putting this list together was actually a little bit tough, but I was able to come to a conclusion. I was like, okay, these are my favorites, these are my least favorites, and all of that. So we're going to be ranking them, and I guess let's just jump into it. So coming in at number 10, this is a popular pick for the least favorite. Okay, and I know that a lot of people they have this one as their least favorite, and for me it's the case as well. That is Jigsaw. So yeah, Jigsaw is my least favorite, but that does not mean that I think the movie is terrible and all that. I have heard a lot of people basically say if this is one of the worst movies ever made and it's terrible and it's like all that stuff. I don't think so. I mean, is it the weakest installment in the franchise? I think it is. However, I think that it does have some things going for it. I think some of the traps, like this one, I thought was kind of cool, and like the motorcycle one of like the spiraling thing that the guy had to reach down and grab the brake. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of interesting, and I also thought even though I don't think it was executed the best, I think that the concept was kind of interesting of like, you have the first apprentice who's basically recreating Jigsaw's first game now. That being Jigsaw's first game, I think that's a little weird, but yeah, I mean, I can have fun with this movie, unlike some people that I've heard. I'm not throwing shade at anyone, I'm just saying some people think this movie is absolutely terrible, and I don't quite think it is, but it is my least favorite. So yeah, if I'm in a Saw mood, this is the one I'll probably grab the last, but it's still fine. Like if I feel like if this is the weakest in the series, and I even saw when the first time that I saw this movie, I was like, man, this is the one that everyone says is just terrible. That's not too bad. I mean, there have been movies in other franchises where I'm like, oh, that one's absolutely terrible. I'm never watching that again. This one I could see myself rewatching. It's just I like the other ones more. So there we go. Jigsaw is my number 10 pick. Now coming in at number 9, I'm not sure if this is controversial or not, but at number 9 I have Saw 4. And can we just talk before we talk about the movie? Can we just talk about this box? I think this box is so cool. Like you have this transparent like cover, and then you have this box with the disc inside. This is so cool. I did not know that this existed, but regardless, Saw 4. So I for a while I was trying to figure out if there's something off about this movie, but I'm not entirely sure what it was. I think I might have figured it out, and that's that you have 5, 6, and final chapter that focus on Hoffman, and we know that Hoffman is the bad guy and all of that. In this movie, we're introduced to Hoffman as the villain, but that doesn't show up until the end of the movie. In this movie, we're trying to figure out who is carrying on Jigsaw's game, because the movie begins with John's autopsy. So we're like, okay, so well, John's dead and Amanda's dead, so who is continuing the game? So we have to try and figure that out, and it's revealed at the very end that yeah, it was Hoffman. Okay, so like it just seems kind of weird of like, okay, if you've seen the other movies, then you already know, so this one just kind of feels like it's dragging on. Okay, we know who is in on this, we know who set up the game, but yeah, so there's that. There are some cool traps. I like the one at the beginning of the guy with his mouth shut, and then the guy with his eyes shut. I thought that was kind of cool. I liked some of the traps. I thought the game was interesting in concept. I don't think it was really executed the best. But yeah, so it's cool. I find it kind of forgettable, but like I said, I think that's the reason why, is that we're trying to figure out who Hoffman is, and watching the other movies, we already know it's Hoffman. So it just kind of is like, okay, we get it, we know it's him. Can we just get to the point already? But yeah, so there we go. Saw 4. Even though this is a really cool box, Saw 4 is my number 9 pick. Then coming in at number 8, we have another one that is a lot of people's least favorite, and that is Saw: The Final Chapter, also known as Saw 3D, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Final Chapter, that's what it says on here. But yeah, the 3D one, the one that was meant to be the last one. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting enough. I think I think the concept, like the central game, is really interesting of this guy who pretended of, oh yeah, I survived the Jigsaw game, and can we just say that's a really scummy thing to do, of like be like the voice among these people that have actually experienced that, and he's like, oh yeah, I did that too. That's kind of messed up. So I'm totally cool with this guy going through this game. Now, what happens to the people around him? I don't know about that. But I think the concept is really interesting. And then bringing Dr. Gordon back, I mean, I knew going into the movie, because I knew people talk about it, of, oh yeah, it's revealed that Dr. Gordon comes back and he's the apprentice. I'm like, okay, it's kind of already guessed that, but yeah, going into the movie, I knew it. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't affect it too much. I mean, with Saw, the final chapter, I mean, if this is your least favorite, I understand why, but for me, I can have some fun with it, okay? The 3D effects are kind of weird. The blood looks really weird. It looks pink. I don't know what's up with that. But I can have some fun with it, especially with Hoffman, of him just being like, I'm going to kill everybody. Okay, I think that that's kind of fun, of Hoffman like becoming like a full-on slasher villain. I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, like I said, I can have some fun with this movie, though I do understand why you would have it last place if you do. So yeah, final chapter, not my favorite, but like I said, it's a fun time. Now, coming in at number 7, we have Saw 3. Yes, I know this is a divisive one. Some people really like it, some people aren't a big fan of it. Here's where I think of this. I mean, obviously, I don't think of it as the best, because, you know, it's not my top 5 or anything like that. But what this movie does, I think it's really cool. I mean, my 2 favorite characters in the series are John and Amanda. And you basically have both of them as like a central focus, and like the dichotomy between the 2 of them, especially with Amanda, you know, setting up these traps that are impossible to escape. And so she is blatantly killing people, and John's like, that's not the right thing to do, so I'm going to put you to the test one final time. And she failed the test, which I thought was cool. I also thought the concept of the main game of Jeff, the concept was interesting. Could you have shaved off like 10 minutes off the runtime and had him actually like learn his lesson right off the bat? Probably. Yeah, I mean, I just, the way I see it, of like how slow he is, of like trying to do all the stuff, and him deliberating of, do I do this, do I not do this? To me, that just screams of, this guy hasn't learned his lesson. Okay, so like he has to learn the same lesson over and over and over again. And I think that gets a little redundant. And the thing of him being Lynn's husband, I thought that was kind of obvious, because of how Amanda, you know, is like hiding his identity of, he escaped the box, he passed his first test, you know, all that of, if he's not important to Lynn, why don't you just say his name? Yeah, there was that. So yeah, I think that's I think, like I said, so I think the stuff involving John and Amanda, and then Lynn to a lesser extent, I think that's really cool. And then I think that the concept of the game of like letting go and all of that, I think that that's cool. It's just the way it's done, and then, you know, I know it's kind of divisive if they actually kill off John at the end of this movie. I personally didn't mind it, because I thought that the backstory that we got in the later movies was kind of interesting. But yeah, so you kill off John in this one. If you don't like that, I understand. But yeah, so this one is kind of a mixed bag for me. That's why it was hard for me to rank these, of like, there are things I like and don't like about them. So it's a thing of, what do I think about this one? So yeah, I'm going to put this as my number 7. Though if you ask me tomorrow, that might change. But yeah, number 7, Saw 3. So then coming in at number 6. I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not. It probably is, because I know a lot of people have this as their favorite in the series. But for me, my number 6 pick is Saw X. Yeah. So I know this is the newest one and all of that, and I know that a lot of people are like, this is the best one in the series. And if you think so, I'm not going to disagree with you. Okay, I get it. Okay, if you like this one, I get it. Okay, I understand. You got a whole bunch of characters in here, like I just said previously. John and Amanda are my favorite characters. So you might think of, why don't you like this one? Because they're the protagonists of this one. And yeah, they are. They are. And I think that that's really cool. However, one big thing with this is that you have some of the worst people, especially with Cecilia. Where is she? Yeah, right here. You got Cecilia, who I would say she is the second worst person that's ever been in one of Jigsaw's games. The first worst being the main female character from Jigsaw, who killed her baby, framed her husband, and all that. I think she's the worst, but Cecilia is like, you know, right. She's a close second. And she survives. Okay, I know, when they made this movie, the intent was to make a sequel that was going to continue that story. Well, that didn't happen. So, for me, like, because I watched these so late and I didn't know that, I knew that there wasn't a sequel to this, when Cecilia survived, I was like, come on! What I would have done is I would have had it to be where she and her lover are in the room filled with gas, and he realizes who she really is, he kills her, and then he survives. I would have rather had that. Okay, if that had happened, this movie probably would have been higher on my list. But another thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is that I feel like the traps are kind of imbalanced a little bit, to where like you have the really nasty ones that happen to the people that aren't quite as bad, and then you have, Cecilia, who was supposed to have the trap of the table with the blood and all of that, and that was meant to be for her, and I feel like compared to the other ones, it's not that bad. Um, but yeah, like the one where the guy had to take out his brain, and the one of like the cancer ray like shooting at the girl, like I feel like those would have been more appropriate for Cecilia. But yeah, she didn't get those. Who got those were the people who comparatively weren't as bad. Okay, they still did some messed up stuff, but they were ultimately just working for her and they were just getting by. So I'm willing to excuse some of them, but they get some of the worst traps, and then Cecilia, conversely, her trap isn't even that bad and she survives it. So that really bothers me, but other than that, I think the aesthetic is cool. I like how we actually know where this movie is set, because all the other movies, there's no specification of where it's set. Whereas this one, it's in Mexico. I think that's kind of cool. And yeah, I think some of the traps are cool, how they're like really basic compared to the other ones. Like they're not as elaborate because, for one, this is earlier in the timeline, and for another thing, this is John didn't exactly have all of the means of just throwing something together. He just kind of had to make do with what he had with the time that he had. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, like I said, like the imbalance between like what goes on and how one of the worst characters survives at the end, I didn't like that. But yeah, Saw X, it's still fun. It's just not my favorite. So yeah, that is my number 6 pick. So then coming in at number 5, if y'all haven't already disagreed with me, you might disagree with this one. But at number 5, we have Spiral from the Book of Saw. And here's the thing. I went into this movie knowing all of the criticism about people have said, like, Chris Rock is not a good dramatic actor, and, it's just treading old ground and all of that. I thought it was interesting because when I was watching all the Saw movies for the first time, I was thinking to myself, if what'd be really cool is if they had a Saw movie from the perspective of the detectives, and like only that. And that's basically what this movie is. Like I know that in the first movie and in some of the sequels there was a detective element, but it was that interlaced with the game that was going on, the central premise behind that. Whereas with this one, it's basically just the detectives and them trying to figure it out. So I think that is really cool. And the look of it, like how it looks like a movie, how it looks different from the rest of them, but it still feels like a Saw movie. I think that that's really cool. And yeah, I mean, Chris Rock, I mean, he's I wouldn't say he's the best actor in the world, but he's definitely not as bad as some people say he is. I mean, yes, he's known for his comedy. I feel like that is his strongest suit, but people that say that he's an absolutely terrible dramatic actor, he can't do all of that, I disagree. I think he was fine in this movie. I think that the reveal of who the villain was, I thought that was really bad. I mean, I kind of had my suspicion on the partner, like, for most of the movie, but then when it shows up, oh yeah, he's just dead, and they don't show how he died, it's like, yep, that's him. But yeah, so there's that. And I'm not a fan of the ending of, like, I know that it's a dark room and the SWAT team had like tunnel vision of there's a guy with a gun, but like you're gonna tell me that they don't even notice, like, at all. Again, I know it's dark, but they don't notice that it's their former police chief that's being strung up like a puppet. They don't notice that. They're just like, oh, that's him, shoot him. Come on, man. I feel like at least one of them would have been like, wait, that's Marcus Banks or whatever his name was. So yeah, like I think that's really dumb. But yeah, other than that, I think the movie's pretty fun. I think that it's a nice, a nice change of pace, and I could throw this on really anytime, And I think it's really cool. I think that doesn't get enough attention, or at least enough positive attention, because a lot of people just dunk on this and they're like, this movie is terrible. I think it's worth giving it another shot. I mean, if you watch it and you're like, it's not my thing, That's totally fine. But I'm just saying of don't just jump to conclusions of this movie sucks because it's not a Saw movie and Chris Rock is known for comedy. Okay, it's like I feel like you gotta have more substance than that. But yeah, so there we go. Spiral from the Book of Saw. Even though the title's weird, you should have just been called Spiral, but whatever. That is my number 5 pick. So then coming in at number 4, we're in the top 4 now. And coming in at number 4, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but number 4, not top 3 or number 1 or anything like that, but number 4 is the original. And yes, I know this movie is super influential, really. I mean, like this movie, like really was a, this movie. I can't talk about this movie and be like, I can't really say anything that hasn't already been said. Is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, super influential, really iconic. The plot twist, I mean, like all of that, like it's up there. Okay, I understand this is one of the most influential movies like ever in the horror genre, and yeah, really unique for the time, and yeah, it's really cool. And so I'm not discounting any of that. Okay? I mean, I have it above all of these other movies, okay? But I'm just saying that like for my personal taste when I'm in the Saw mood, I don't really gravitate toward this one all too often. And the reason for that is because like for the first movie, we're mainly just focused on two guys in one room. And there aren't any traps. It's kind of like an escape room of like you got to figure out why you're in here and what you got to do to get out. Okay, and it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's just that. Whereas in all the other movies, it's a thing of like someone goes through a trap, and then someone else goes through a trap, or it's a thing of one person who goes through this experience, and then this experience, and then this experience. Whereas this one is just two guys in one room. And I think the detective aspect is really interesting. I think Detective Tapp is really cool. He's one of my favorite characters in the series. I feel like he's really underrated, and they shouldn't have killed him off, but regardless. So there we go. So yeah, the original, I can't say anything that hasn't already been said. It's really cool, really interesting, what two guys were able to do with such a small budget, but regardless, this is what we got. So number 4 is the original. Now coming in at number 3, I don't know if this is controversial. Like I said, I don't know too much about what's popular to say is favorite or least favorite. I mean, I know that like Saw X is like a popular pick for favorite, and then, like Jigsaw is a popular pick for least favorite, but regardless. Coming at number 3, we have Saw 5. Yes, Saw 5. And you might be wondering of like, why do you have this one so high? Well, there are 2 big reasons for it. One, I think that Hoffman's origin story is really interesting. Of you have him who took out this guy in this trap that's very much emulated by Jigsaw, and then John himself confronts him. He's like, that's murder. We don't do murder. We do rehabilitation. Let me show you the difference. I think that was really interesting of like basically how Hoffman got involved with that instead of it being a thing of, oh yeah, he's just an apprentice because he's just an apprentice. I think that was kind of interesting how we see his origin story. Another thing that I think is interesting is the game itself, which you can kind of see a little bit on the back art there. But yeah, the 5 people who are responsible for, they all have a hand in one incident, and well, it doesn't come right out and say it, but they're supposed to work together, and they absolutely don't. And I thought that was really interesting of like they just got tunnel vision of, we all have to survive, and so it's a thing of I'm surviving, not you. And so when the 2 people get to the end and they're like, oh crap, we should have worked together, I thought that was really cool. So yeah, and then the thing of Strom, like I know that Strom, I mean, you can kind of see him on the box. But I know that like a lot of people liked him and they didn't like what happened to him. I didn't mind it too much. Like I said, I mean, this is basically Hoffman's origin story as a movie, and I thought Hoffman, was kind of cool. Like it's a police officer who's working for Jigsaw, but I was like, I want to know why he's working with him, and well, this movie answers that. So I thought that was kind of cool. Hoffman's not my favorite, but I mean, this movie definitely does help. And then, like I said, I think the game is really interesting. So. I mean, that's kind of all a lot of Saw movies boil down to is what's the game like, and then what's the other premise like. So I think that that's kind of cool. So there we go. Saw 3 is, or Saw 3, Saw 5 is my number 3 pick. But regardless, there we go. Now coming in at number 2. For number 2, I know that this one for some people is a popular pick for favorite. Saw 6. And yeah, I mean, like this is a movie that you either like it or you either like it or you don't. And I mean, you can probably tell by my ranking how I feel about it. I really like it. So yeah, I think that given how John, very famously is a guy with cancer. I mean, I knew that before I even saw any of these movies. I'm like, John has a messed up worldview and he has cancer. Like that's really all I knew. But yeah, so he's got cancer, and I mean, let's just call it what it is. Okay, I mean, I know there are people that will swear by, the medical, world and all of that, but let's call it what it is. It's got some issues. Okay, it's got some corruption. It's got some shady business and all of that. So John kind of tackling that, and like we know that John specifically wanted this trap to be set up. He just couldn't do it at the time. So we know that he was like, I gotta do this. And then we kind of see that in Saw X of like, this was the treatment that he tried to go for, in Saw X, and it was denied. So, I mean, these movies kind of go together. It's just that I think this one was executed better. Kind of how you had the main guy who's basically forced to eat his own words and see what that looks like. Like when you have the two people that are told, you can only save one of them, and one of them, just absolutely fits the description of what he normally looks for, and then one of them is not, but is a very good person. And so it's a thing of which one is he going to save. I thought that was really interesting. And then yeah, I mean the shotgun carousel. I mean, like I know a lot of people have a problem of like, he couldn't, John shouldn't have people directly killed. In the first movie, Amanda had to kill a guy to get the key out to remove the reverse bear trap. Okay, so the thing of John doesn't kill people in traps. Yes, he does. He's just so messed up that he doesn't see that. But regardless, basically the thing of like, like only a third of applicants are accepted, therefore you can only have a third of your people survive. I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, and then the premise of people hunting down Hoffman, like this is when he starts to turn like full villain mode, and I thought that was cool. Because I thought that was kind of inevitable. I mean, that's what we saw with Amanda, and when you're in the business that these guys are in, I feel like it's inevitable that you go down that path. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and yeah, so Saw 6, I was very pleasantly surprised by this. I wasn't sure what I was going to think about, but when it was done, I was like, yeah, that's one of my favorites. So yeah, this is my number 2 pick. Then coming in at number 1 through process of elimination, y'all can probably guess what it is. It is Saw 2. Dose. And before we talk about the movie, y'all might not know this about me, but look at this. Look at this. Blockbuster. Yay. I think it's cool. I try to collect things like that. But yeah, regardless, Saw 2. What can I say that hasn't already been said? I mean, this basically took the premise of the first movie and expanded it. You got a really interesting character of this, the short fuse detective who is, like his son, like basically the one thing that kind of keeps him human is taken away from him, and he is forced to like humor Jigsaw of like, okay, because Jigsaw tells him, all you gotta do to win this game is just sit here and listen to me talk to you, and he fails that. And if he had succeeded, his son would have been perfectly fine. I thought that plot twist was really cool. And then just the whole like idea of like you have this game going on with these people in this house, and all the while the detectives are trying to trace the signal so that they can rescue the people, and then they discover of, oh wait, this happened several days ago and we were just tracking a recording of it. I thought that was really cool. Amanda being revealed as the apprentice, I knew Amanda was the apprentice. Okay, I knew that before I saw the movie. So it didn't really bother me all that much. I know that some people are like, what? Oh, come on, man. We saw that coming a mile away. I already knew that, so that didn't bother me. But I thought it was just really cool of like the central idea of, like this detective, and yeah. So yeah, there we go. Like I said, I feel like I can't really say anything that hasn't already been said, but yeah, Saw 2, like I showed my wife, she has seen the first 2 Saw movies. She saw the first one, she's like, that was alright. She saw this one, she's like, that was really good. I really like that one. So, yeah, there's just something about Saw 2 that, like, I don't know what it is, but I think that it basically takes everything that the first movie did, makes it better, and expands on it, and I think that that's really cool. So, yeah, this movie is my number 1. And, yeah, so there we go. That's my ranking of all the Saw movies. And, yeah, so if y'all agree with this at all, you'll like the Saw movies, whatever it might be, be sure to leave a like, can let me know in the comments what's your ranking of the Saw movies, or just what's your favorite and least favorite. Whatever you wanna say, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to see more content like this, you could definitely subscribe. If you want to see a video on my favorite horror franchises, you can check that out. But yeah, I guess stay tuned for other stuff like this. But other than all of that, I do hope you enjoyed. I hope they'll see you all later. Goodbye.